let's say I went out with a, a buddy of mine, and let's say it was a male, and we were like romantically involved, right? And we'd hold hands, and there'd be we would notice people like giving us looks, like looks like that, you know. And let's say everywhere we went, I usually saw at least one, or maybe he saw one, or and we kind of saw this like pattern where people would be giving us that look, and I determined that because we saw these people, these individuals who were giving us these looks, that the majority of people in Wisconsin definitely were homophobic, that they didn't like gay people. Do you think that I would be reasonable with that assumption, like connecting those dots?
Yeah, nowadays, for example, in Europe, it's hard to find people that are not racist.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay. Hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
When you say
So usually,
racist, can you elaborate a
so
little bit more on that?
usually, so usually most of the how to say, most of the Europeans who are not racist are those guys who make money out of these kind of programs. You know, for example, if you have an NGO, right? You have an NGO, and you take money from the government to make these programs, anti-discrimination programs. You know, but uh, but you are doing this only to make money. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, but how to say? I don't know. I think it's pretty hard to find a person genuine about his opinions on different groups. You know what I'm saying? Because nowadays most of the people are
Hmm.
like people are sensitive. If they had like a bad experience with a Muslim or a black person, he he's going to hate that group. You know, and it's
Yeah.
that's why it's pretty hard to find people that are generally nice to others, to other different groups. You know.
Okay. How
Oh yeah.
there's a couple questions I'd like to ask. One of the questions is how did you figure out that the majority of people are like this? And the other one would be what can we do to prevent this from happening?
Good education from the
Okay.
parents, you know. But this is recorded on YouTube? Okay.
It
Why
is.
why do you record it? Why are you recording it on YouTube?
uh, that's what I do with these events all the time.
Okay,
If
that's
you don't
that's
want to continue,
interesting.
totally understand.
You know, it's like education from your parents, you know. Well, that's how it is. To not generalize. It's very hard not to generalize, you know.
Yeah,
Especially when you live with so many minorities, you know, because people tend to generalize. Okay, Italians eat more spaghetti. You know, black people eat more fried chicken. For example, in America, if you live in America, oh, Moroccans eat more couscous. You know, uh, what can I
sure.
say?
I
Yeah,
got
these
you.
are
Stereotypes.
generalizations.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So getting back to like Europe, and I think you stated that it's difficult to find people in Europe who are not racist. I'm really wondering how you've come to that conclusion.
Man, you know, I see from, I don't know, like the thing is that you can see that from the eyes. Like, for example, look, how to say, let me find my words. Okay, so the thing is that I saw different people. When they met someone who is different, for example, they accepted him, but not totally, because like you can see from their body language that mm, that they you can see from their body language that um the people are not nice to, I don't know, to brown people or to black or to, like, you see from the eyes, of the Europeans, of, what I'm saying, of course. But yeah,
Huh? Okay,
but
I think I'm
racism is
picking up.
everywhere. Racism is everywhere. Racism is everywhere, even in Africa, even in.
Mhm.
But Europe is the best place for African immigrants, for Arab immigrants, because it's more rich and it's more important because it has more money. That's why. You know what I'm saying?
I think
And
so. Let me
yeah,
repeat. Let me repeat back what I'm hearing to make sure I understand. So I think this is coming down from like a personal experience, being around uh, these people who are in Europe, and you can see it kind of. You said it in their eyes, so you kind of described like body language, like maybe staring at them, giving them mean looks, mean mugging them, maybe not looking at them, avoiding eye contact. Stuff like that. You may have witnessed. Did I capture that about right?
like look at when Barack Obama became a president. You know, uh, when when he shakes hands with other politicians, after that the politicians, they wash their, they clean their hands with something, with
Mm,
scarf or something. You know, it's a YouTube video. It's on YouTube, of course.
mm,
So
okay.
even with the president of America, the politicians were like that. You know,
Yeah. Interesting.
so
Interesting. I, I just like to clarify real quick. Earlier you were saying like it's hard to find someone who's not racist. Was that an indication that you believe most people in Europe are racist?
yeah, I believe so, because not so many people would, I don't know, would interact with, like, would have in their group of friends black people or brown people. Yeah, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Yeah. I'm gonna pose a question here. Let's say you see you're like on a train or something. In Europe, you guys love trains, right? So you're on a train, lots of people, it's just loaded with people. You see one person mean mugging a person of color, let's say, and they that person happens to be white. They're mean mugging them or ignoring them or doing something, some sort of body language that would indicate racism, right? Um, how many other people do you think on that train would also like exhibit that same behavior? You think it would be like most of them, or half of them, a third of them?
Like, for example, if the train is crowded, they have to accept you. you know
Okay.
if the train is crowded, they cannot do anything about that. Okay, they are going to wait. When we don't like something, but you move your face somehow. I don't know how to find this um word. Um, wait,
Like this?
nah, not like this. Uh, when you are disgusted, this,
That
yeah,
okay.
yeah. But
I got you.
it's in a more like, but it's more in a slight way. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so expression of disgust, yeah. And it just doesn't necessarily have to be a train. This hypothetical can be anything, right? Maybe it's just you're walking through a place where there's happens to be a decent amount of other people all spread out. How many people do you think you'd run into where they'd be interacting with someone or near someone of another race and they'd show this disgust? You think you'd
Okay,
see
for
it all over
example,
the?
like there was like a group of four people, you know,
Hmm.
and for example, you would meet these four people in one interaction, and like these three people, they like you, but the other one doesn't like you, and this guy who is their friend say, okay, we don't accept this guy in our group because our friend doesn't like him. So you know what I'm saying? So, so yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. So the reason I was giving you this hypothetical before was because I was trying to kind of tug at your reason for belief. I was trying to figure out, um, well, not so much reason. I guess I was testing the limit or so. Like I was trying to figure out, like, is your reason for thinking most of Europe is racist is because you see these interactions
Yeah,
regularly,
and
perhaps? Yeah.
I'm Armenian. I'm an Armenian.
Hmm.
I look brown, and but I live in Europe, and I tell you from my experience, you know what I'm saying? Uh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
If I were to give you like a little flashlight, maybe like they have on what's it called? The one with Will Smith. Why don't I remember that movie name? Anyways, I give you a little flashlight and you can flash it in people's eyes, and then they have to tell you the truth instead of forgetting or whatever. Men in Black. Yes, that is the movie. So I give you this special little Men in Black device, and it works like a truth serum. People only can tell the truth. And if you were to walk down any random street in Europe and you were to flash a few people, that came out a little bit weird. Anyways, use this truth flashlight on some people, and like let's say you did it on 10 people, and you asked them like, "Hey, are you a racist?" Or and they have to tell you the truth. They're like, "Do you think poorly of people of color or something like that?" Right? Are you disgusted
Well,
by people of
to be
color?
honest, to be honest, like, well, to be honest, it would be weird. It would be weird to do that,
It would be weird.
and it would be weird, definitely. And
It'd be weird. How
like for
many
example,
how many people
I usually
how many,
don't like human interactions in a train because, for example, if I talk to like random people on train, they ask me, "Oh, but where are you from? Why are you so brown? Tell me the whole story of your family." When they come here, when they, like that's why. So I usually like, um, I'm silent in a train, and yeah,
okay, I'll
I
take
don't
the
know.
pressure off you, my man.
And for
So I'll
example, it's not like like in my country, people, how to say, in the trains are not like so social because you know in my
yeah,
country it's saying don't talk with strangers. It's not nice. You know what I'm saying? Don't talk to
yeah,
strangers.
I
It's
got
someone
you.
that you don't know. So all people, they mind their own business. They stay. They are watching on YouTube. And usually if it's someone that you know, yes, you talk to him, but you don't go to to people and hey, what's up, bro? Like, hey, I know you for 20 years. It's not like
I got you.
in America, like in the
I,
hood, like, yeah.
I,
uh,
um,
i'm just I'm just
I mean,
joking,
I know. Yeah, does that happen in the hood? It might not. I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna take some pressure off you. So I'm gonna be the one with the flashlight. I'm gonna be walking down the streets of Europe. They can think I'm weird, all right? But it's okay because I got the flashlight, and they have to talk to me because once I flash them, they have to tell me the truth and they have to talk to me. So if I were to flash like 10 people, 10 random people, what do you think like the results would be? Would like 10 out of 10 be racist? Would 3 out of 10 be racist? What are you thinking?
I think that maybe two of them would be nice and answer to you, but I think that most of the people would slap you on the face or just walk away.
Wow. Huh.
You know,
Just because I'm being weird, or is it because they're racist?
it's not because of that, but you are a strange person. You know, with
The flashlight it makes them also behave
oh
and be
yeah, and
nice. Yeah.
also the question is inappropriate. Like it's not like because
No, yeah,
usually
that's
people
true.
because usually people like for example in real life they're not so confident that they are racist. They usually keep it for themselves. You know,
Yeah.
but they show their racism through the body language, through many things, but slightly.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah, I hear you.
Only stupid people, like in general, smart people are usually smart racists. So they are slight in there. They do the move slightly. You know, not obvious, not to be obvious.
No, I'm not saying you're mistaken with this next question. I don't know if you are. I honestly don't really know. Um, but let's say hypothetically that you were mistaken, and let's say 8 out of 10 people are not racist, and 2 out of 10 people in Europe are racist. Hypothetically, um, given that this hypothetical, how if you were to find out the truth of the matter that you were mistaken, how would you go about figuring that out?
Could you ask? Could you come again, please?
Yeah, let me try going at that from a different angle. I apologize, it was a little wordy. Let's try again. If you were mistaken, which I'm not saying you were, but if you were mistaken about most people in Europe being racist, and most people, let's just say most people are not, how would you go about figuring that out?
Hmm. Well, you know, you know the people. You know, some people that I told you, some people that don't show this thing quickly. You know,
Sure.
but in time they show it. But
Mhm.
as I told you, for example, there are man, there is a little number of people who are like genuinely not racist, like like for example, like Chris. Like for example, you see Chris, he didn't care about the social values, the social um, these social barriers. For example, he married a Moroccan woman, and 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 this is, I think that this is an act of courage because, for example, people they have big mouths, you know, and for example, I don't know if you marry a black person and you are white, people are like, oh, but why did you marry this person? You know, he's not your race. He's not your. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like he he risked so much because um, you're not normal to do that. You know what I'm saying? It's something bizarre. It's something. Uh,
Okay.
It is not in accordance with society's norms, you know.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
And some people, when they go, for example, there are there are some, like, for example, there was a girl, like, she stopped talking to me because she said, I stopped talking to you because all the people were watching us, and I feel ashamed. So she stopped talking to me because of that, because she
Mm,
realized that, in accordance with social norms, uh, I, I I have a low status, low racial
right.
status.
Hmm. Well, I'm sorry you went through
So
that. That's rough. That sucks that someone
so
would stop talking to you because of that.
this is the thing, like, that's the thing, like, that's why I say that, Chris is like it's a rare person. It's like,
Mm.
you know to risk with it, what I'm saying, like,
Ooh.
um, it means
What
that she loved that person a lot, if you don't care about others' opinion, on your choice. And yeah.
what could convince you that there are more people like Chris in Europe?
I don't think that there are
Yeah, no, but
many.
what could convince you that there are?
I don't know, but I don't think
Mm.
that there are many. There are, for sure, there are, but I don't think that there are, like, more than 10 or 6
In
anyway.
all of Europe?
No, 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 not in all of in a city. In a city,
Oh,
for
okay.
example.
Okay. Uh, Still, just not more than like 6?
Like, for example, Europeans like being with Europeans, like white with white. And it's
Mm.
very, how to say, it is very, very, you know, hard for them to, how to say, um, yeah, it is very hard for them to, to be an outcast of the society. Because when you marry someone that is different, you become an outcast of the society. But if you don't care about, you hear me?
I hear you. Did you think your mic cut out or something? Maybe it
And
did.
being, so many assumptions about European being so racist. Well, it's because of my experience, and I'm telling you my experience. And yes, like, somehow I understand people who are racist because, like, people are, like, they're foreigners and they see them differently and they are scared of unknown things, and and I kind of understand them. I try to emphasize with them. Uh,
I'm wondering. I'd like to give you a hypothetical, and I know hypotheticals might not be your thing, but I'm gonna. Let's say let's say I went out with a a buddy of mine, and let's say it was a male, and we were like romantically involved, right? And we'd hold hands, and there'd be we would notice people like giving us looks, like looks like that, you know. And let's say everywhere we went, I usually saw at least one, or maybe he saw one, or and we kind of saw this like pattern where people would be giving us that look. and I determined that because we saw these people, these individuals who are giving us these looks, that the majority of people in Wisconsin definitely were homophobic. That they didn't like gay people. Do you think that I would be reasonable with that assumption, like connecting those dots?
Uh, yeah, there will be looks. There will be looks for sure. You know, and what can I say? But if you are strong enough to support these things, you have to move on.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, do you think that
You know,
because of my observations, do you think that would indicate that more than 50% of the people in Wisconsin are homophobic?
Are you still there, Bondi?
you hear me?
I can hear you now.
And that's how it is. You cannot change what you are. You are born with this, and you shouldn't care about the other looks. Because if you wanted to do that, you have to be a man and you have to support the consequences. Or, like, do not care, just simply. But yeah, maybe in Wisconsin, people would be more, how to say, um, like, they, they, they would give some looks, but they would not, like, try to assault you or something. For example, in
Mm,
Russia, if this happened, they would probably, like, beat them, you know? Like, really, in
mm,
Russia, for example, people are pretty homophobic. In Eastern
yeah.
Europe, usually. So,
I think your
yeah.
your mic might have or your internet or something might have cut out at the beginning when you were talking. Um, what was it? So my hypothetical, or my question was like, should I believe that over 50% of Wisconsinites are homophobic because of my observations? I didn't quite catch the beginning of that. Was that like a yes or a no?
Uh, the thing is that theoretically, you shouldn't think about it. Because, like, for example, if you think about these things, you would probably get sick. Just uh, just be like the sea. The sea goes everywhere. You know, also in
Hmm.
the right, also in the middle, also everywhere. And yeah, just live your life as I do. Of course. For example, uh, I sup- I struggle with these kind of things every day, like bad looks and stuff like this. And but I moved on. Like, what can I do? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And yeah, but that's how it
What
is anyway.
what c- what can I do? I love that question. I know it was rhetorical because like, what can I do? I can't do anything. I like that question, and I would like an opportunity
Like
to
okay,
answer
okay, yeah.
that.
For example, usually I realize that when you become rich, and even though I don't know, you are black or brown, or I don't know, everything you know changes for you. Like, you became more respected, you became more famous. Yeah, that's what you can do. To become famous, to become rich and famous, and everyone would know you, and they would not give you looks. They would admire you, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I think that we put so much emphasis in what people are saying about us. We shouldn't do sometimes. Like, yeah, it's a saying that, oh, you're your opinion. It's not my truth. It's not the way I have to live. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna end it off with, well, this topic anyway. With just saying that what we can do, what I would like to do, and I'm not saying anybody else has to do it, but what I would like to do is just continue to have conversations with all people, and I think that's one of the ways to move forward and hopefully overcome some of that racism, stigma, divide. I'd just like to keep having conversations, keep the dialogue rolling. That's what I would like to do anyway.